Hello, everyone. This is a brief overview of the 126 Charmed I'm Sure project. The important things to note. Number one, your project is due Wednesday, December 15th at 11:59 p.m. Another important thing is all STL files are due by the beginning of class on day 7 of the project. So that's going to be by the beginning of class on Tuesday, December 14th. I need those so I can 3D print your object. You have a new notebook page 1.2.6 Charmed. You're going to be putting rubrics and deliverables in there so that you can see that, even though most everything will be turned in online. This is where you'll also do all of your written work for this project. You're going to be both designer and client. You're going to be creating a keychain charm, backpack luggage tag for someone. So read the instructions step by step, and then all of our documents are here. And so this is what I want to go over. File number one is our instructions. So I will create videos to go over each of these sections individually, but ultimately you can find all the instructions here and you should be able to complete the entire project just by reading instructions. The next file is the project timeline. This breaks down when things are due. Notice that you are probably going to need to complete portions of this at home. And your homework is making sure to stay on track. There are 8 days in class to work on this, including today. Do not overcomplicate your design. Time is your biggest constraint. So each day, I have what you should be finished with, what should be happening. American. In addition, I have potentially what you might have to do as homework in between classes to stay caught up. These are things to note. Day 8, project reflection. It should all be turned in. That gives me time to grade it. The rubric and checklist. Here's our points for everything: opportunity identification, design brief, and design research from your partner. Those are, we'll go over what each of those are when we get to them. Brainstorming sketches. I'm going to need 3 design ideas as sketches and notes, so brief notes about your sketches. Generate concepts. You're going to select an appropriate concept. You're going to have a client or a partner sign off on your idea, showing that it is viable. You're going to give isometric models and schematics with details and measurements based on your design sketches. So some brief dimensions this time. We're going to grade your isometric sketching technique of excellent line quality with straight lines following the grid paper and of the correct line weight for object lines versus construction lines. Calculations and peer review. You're going to give me a rough volume calculation with work shown. We'll go over that. Partner has given their approval of the final design. So once again, peer review is a big part of this. We're going to develop CAD models, highly efficient. That means that it doesn't have a lot of extra stuff that's not needed, not a lot of extra sketches. You've made it quick and to the point. An accurate multi-view drawing, a dimensioned multi-view to show that you've met my required dimensions as well as our total material and print time estimate. You've given me cost of manufacture calculations and properly documented your math. I have formulas for that. You've given me observations, and then you've completed every submission section. So let's look at the deliverables. And once again, I'll go over each of these when we get to the appropriate video for the appropriate section. You're going to need to give me a completed design brief, 3 concept sketches, an isometric sketch with dimensions, a justification for why you choose one design, volume calculations for your design, partner sign off on design, an actual 3D CAD model of your design, the CAD multi-view. You're going to have a 3D printed product, so you're going to have an actual product this time, test observations, cost calculations, evidence that you meet the criteria and constraints, or recommendations for revision if you didn't meet those. And that's going to be your documentation of material volume and print time, as well as a fully completed and filled out submission document. So that's our rubric and checklist. These right here, properly documented math examples. So I've got all the example math for you. Here's what's important with the properly documented math. When you do math in your notebook, let's zoom in, and there's some things I want to show you. What you need to have, number one, is the label with the formula name. What are you calculating? You need to then give me what the formula is. You need to give me a numerical substitution, and then you need to give me the answer with units. So for instance, if I was documenting range right here, right, I would say I am calculating the range. There's my label. My formula is range equals maximum minus minimum. I substitute my numbers in, and then I give my answers with units. After that, we have our volume formula and examples right here. So this page just shows you how to calculate volume. I'll go over it in more detail when we get to that. Cost formulas and examples. This right here is going to show you how to calculate your total cost to produce. If you notice, it's kind of a two-parter or three-parter depending on what you are, but there's three separate formulas that are then all added together. I'll go into that in more detail when we get to that section. This is just another example of that formula written a different way on the board. Finally, there is the submission document right here. And the submission document, if you notice, is pretty much blank. It just tells you what you need to do. Here is what's important. The sections are labeled and they have numbers. The numbers go with what step number you have in the instruction document. Notice that in the instruction document, it also has in big bold red letters at the bottom of that things you need to answer in the submission document. So, step number 2, you're going to have to do something for the submission document. It is going to go right here to step number 2. The only thing that has the instructions in the submission document is the project reflection. And that is something that you can read through yourself, and we'll go over when it's the appropriate time. So like I said, there'll be a brief video instruction for each one of these sections in the instructions document. So keep your eye out for those videos to appear.